In 1907, Baden-Powell, an English soldier, devised the Scout motto, "Be prepared." In a 1908 Scouting for Boys publication, he wrote that to be prepared means you are always in a state of readiness in mind and body to do your duty. More than a century later, preparedness is still a cornerstone of scouting. In Matthew chapter 22, Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is compared to a king who gives a wedding banquet for his son. When those invited refuse and mistreat his servants, the king invites all to fill the banquet hall. But when one guest is discovered without the appropriate wedding garment, he is expelled with a warning that many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are prepared. This parable typifies every aspect of our lives: our wants, needs, interactions and relationships, aspirations, dreams, desires, and our preparedness for it or lack of preparedness. Baden-Powell wanted young people equipped to react quickly to an emergency. The Great War loomed, and soon the Boy Scouts, not a military organization but a service-minded one, will be called upon to play their parts. Their keen eyes were added to the watchers along coasts, Winston Churchill wrote in a piece published in Scouting magazine in 1955. In the air raids, we saw the spectacle of children of 12 and 14 performing with perfect coolness and composure the useful function assigned to them in the streets and public offices. They were cool and calm in the midst of the booms of bombs because they were prepared. But Baden-Powell wasn't just thinking about first aid and wartime emergencies when he coined the motto. His idea was that scouts should prepare themselves to become productive citizens and strong leaders and to bring joy to other people. He wanted each scout to be ready in mind and body and to meet with a strong heart whatever challenges await him. Our story as human beings is one of unpreparedness. You buy a car but haven't learned how to drive. So the driver, relation or friends enjoy the car in the interim while you learn how to drive. You pray day and night for a wife or husband and even go as far as buying your wedding outfit in faith, but you fail to prepare the character that will attract a partner. In some cases, you succeed in finding a partner, but in no time it is over because you weren't prepared in the first place. You want to marry, but you are not prepared to keep home. You want to marry, but you haven't learned how to prepare at least one meal a day for yourself, and now hope that feeding your spouse and family will be dependent on Uber Eats or a cook. Can you tell a cook what to do or how to do it if you don't know it in the first place? Can Uber Eats deliver for you when the roads are closed? You want a child, but you're not prepared to engage with your partner regularly, and then you say, "I have waited on the Lord for 5 years and nothing happened." What did you do in the 5 years of waiting on the Lord? You want a job, but you're not prepared to make a simple resume, and when you even make one, you have no plans on how to get the relevant people and organizations to see it. You want a job, but you're not prepared to wake up early. You want a job, but you're not diligent in anything. You want a job, but you're not prepared to be the best you can be. You want to start a business, but you're not prepared to make a plan. You want to buy a home, but you're not prepared to save. You want to be a leader, but you're not prepared to be a follower. How can you lead if you don't know the pains and issues of a follower? For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Jesus Christ can advocate on our behalf because he walked in our shoes? How can you fix a broken school system when your children don't school in Nigeria? How can you fix public schools when your children go to private schools? How can you fix the healthcare system when you're not prepared to be treated as a patient in that system? How will you know that our hospitals lack basic diagnostic machines when you fly to London for the basics? How can you fix roads that you don't use? As you fly in your planes, you can't experience the death traps we call roads. How can you fix electricity when your dedicated power lines, generators and UPS ensures you have uninterrupted power supply? How can you lead when you're not prepared to care? How can you end SARS when you're not prepared to protest? How can you end SARS when you haven't experienced SARS? How can you call for war when you're not prepared to be at the war front? A good general leads his men into battle from the front and not from the back. How can you ask for change when you're not prepared to be the change? How can you have an equitable society when you're not prepared to be righteous? How can you seek eternity without knowing God? What you sow is what you reap. The height you attain depends on the depth of your foundation. A prepared person commands a good life partner. A prepared plan commands investment. A prepared government commands good citizens. A prepared nation commands visitors. A prepared school commands knowledge. A prepared movement commands change. A prepared home commands a family. A prepared heart commands love. A prepared life commands eternity. Jesus Christ walked the talk so that we can talk the walk. He prepared the wedding feast so that we can prepare our wedding garments. He walked Calvary's way so that he could say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So now his question is, are you prepared? God bless you all.